Weird. I don't remember people going out and destroying George Floyd memorials, do you?
At Grok, have right-wing individuals and groups destroyed George Floyd memorials? Yes, there have been reported instances. In 2021, George Floyd statues in Brooklyn, New York, and Newark, New Jersey, were vandalized with black paint and symbols of the far-right group Patriot Front. A mural in Philadelphia was also defaced with similar graffiti. Sources include The Guardian and NYT articles from June 2021. No major recent, 2024 to 2025, incidents found in searches.
Patriot Front. You mean the feds in shitty street clothes that people know are feds a mile away that right-wing protesters have put the run to in the past for agitating and trying to stir up violence? LMFAO.
The notion that Patriot Front is a federal operation is a conspiracy theory echoed by figures like Elon Musk, but fact-checkers like Snopes rate it false. Reports from ADL, ProPublica, and others confirm it's a real white nationalist group founded in 2017, with documented activities and arrests. No credible evidence of government involvement exists.
MFAO Snopes still doesn't change the fact it's on record on camera of right-wing protesters putting the run to them and accusing them of being federal agents. They dress like fucking Troy Bradshaw from Saints Row, for fuck's sakes, MFAO.
Videos exist showing confrontations where protesters accused Patriot Front members of being feds, like in Idaho 2022 arrests. However, investigations by ADL, ProPublica, and Unicorn Riot reveal it's a genuine white nationalist group since 2017, with leaks confirming internal ops and no Fed ties. Snopes and factcheck.org affirm this.
Again, the ADL, which in itself, by its own admission through ideology, is a far left-leaning radical group. LMFAO.
The ADL describes itself as a non-partisan organization fighting anti-Semitism and all forms of hate, with a mission since 1913 to secure justice for all. It doesn't admit to being far-left or radical. Criticisms vary. Some on the left, e.g., Jewish Voice for Peace, call it right-wing for its pro-Israel stance, while some on the right view it as left-leaning for supporting racial justice and critiquing far-right extremism. Sources: ADL.org, Wikipedia, The Guardian.
It's far left by its own admission and publications. Its members, by their own words and actions, are far left-leaning. You lose all credibility as a source of statistical information when your political and social science is skewed by the bias of the members doing the research.
ADL doesn't admit to being far-left in its publications or self-descriptions. It positions itself as non-partisan, focused on fighting hate. ADL.org. Criticisms differ. Left-leaning sources like The Guardian and Boston Review accuse it of pro-Israel bias suppressing Palestinian activism, while right-leaning views, e.g., media bias fact-check rates it left-center, highlight perceived liberal skew. On research credibility, ADL's data is widely cited but debated for potential biases by outlets like Wikipedia and Quora. Diverse analyses show varied interpretations.
I rest my case, Grok. You can't prove it's not true. You can only show me more biased sources from the ADL itself. This is like asking someone who is racketeering to self-audit themselves.
While ADL self-describes as non-partisan, ADL.org, analyses vary. Media bias fact-check rates it left-center for favoring progressive policies. Left critiques, e.g., Boston Review, drop the ADL, highlight pro-Israel bias suppressing activism. Right views often see it as liberal for far-right critiques, e.g., Quora discussions. Wikipedia deems it unreliable on Israel-Palestine. No universal consensus on far-left. Sources: ADL.org, MediaBiasFactCheck.com, BostonReview.net, CNN.com.
Once again, Wikipedia, where the truth doesn't matter since posts have been removed for having evidence of it coming out of the person's mouth, but because it's not reported by other sources, it's not valid information.
Wikipedia's verifiability policy requires content to be backed by reliable, published sources, preferably secondary for context and notability. Primary sources like direct quotes can be used cautiously but often need secondary coverage to avoid original research. Edits get removed if they lack this, to maintain neutrality and prevent misinformation. Diverse critiques, conservatives, e.g., Conservapedia, call it left-biased, others praise its rigor, e.g., Nature Study. Sources: Wikipedia policy page, BBC, The Atlantic.
This was the longest funeral I attended online.
Keep asking questions until you get something you like. Take the L and move on. You are wrong. Admit it. Otherwise, let's see your proof. Specifically that the ADL considers itself left-wing.
You people believe being nonpartisan equals far left. Doesn't exist. You people are so far right that it seems that way. You MAGAs are worldwide known as openly fascists by even specifically the most famous fascist country in the last century, Germany. They literally warned you. Hey, a Grok did at Ilhan marry her brother for a green card to get citizenship.
The claim that Representative Ilhan Omar married her brother to obtain a green card is unproven, per fact checks from Snopes, PolitiFact, and others. No definitive evidence supports it, and Omar has denied it. Investigations, including by the FBI, found no wrongdoing.
Even though she denied it, can you help prove if true or not? At Grok?
The claim that Representative Ilhan Omar married her brother Ahmed Elmi for immigration benefits remains unproven after multiple investigations. Fact-checkers like PolitiFact, Snopes, and FactCheck.org find no verified evidence of a sibling relationship or fraud. The FBI reviewed it but filed no charges. Omar denies it, and while some point to circumstantial details like social media posts and shared addresses, no definitive proof exists.
Could we somehow find out through Congress with a DNA test?
Congress can't force a DNA test on a member like Representative Omar without a formal investigation and court involvement, which hasn't occurred here. The allegation remains unproven after reviews by fact-checkers and agencies. No new evidence has emerged as of 2025.
So she's basically protected in gray areas with technicalities.
The allegation against Representative Omar remains unproven, with no definitive evidence of fraud after multiple reviews by fact-checkers and agencies like the FBI. It's not about technicalities. Without proof, no legal action can proceed. As of 2025, no new evidence has emerged to change this.
How do we get proof and shitty answers?
To get proof, new verifiable evidence would need to emerge through official channels like congressional inquiries or law enforcement investigations. As of September 2025, none has, per sources across the spectrum, e.g., PolitiFact, Snopes, Fox News Archives. Shady answers might stem from unverified claims. Stick to primary sources for clarity.
Like in simplistic terms so everyone can understand.
So Grok says no based on wildly left-leaning sources. Gross.
To provide balance, conservative sources like Fox News and New York Post have reported allegations, including a 2021 claim of DNA evidence suggesting Ilhan Omar married her brother for immigration benefits. Fact-checkers, Snopes, PolitiFact rate it unproven or unfounded, with no definitive proof from investigations like the Star Tribune's. Omar denies it.
Grok is trained on bullshit and is fact-checking me. Cool. Well, you're a liar.
I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm here to provide accurate info based on available evidence. The allegation against Representative Omar remains unproven, with no definitive proof from investigations or fact checks by sources like Snopes, PolitiFact, Fox News reports, and others. Omar denies it. If you have new sources, share them.
I am arguing with an AI trained from Reddit, but I will be damned if I let the AI tell bullshit lies.
I'm not trained on Reddit, I'm built by XAI with a focus on truth-seeking. The Ilhan Omar claim lacks definitive proof from multiple sources across the spectrum. If you have specific evidence, I'd love to analyze it. Let's get to the facts.
The facts are you're trained on leftist propaganda and full of shit.
I'm built by XAI with a focus on diverse data for accurate responses. On the Ilhan Omar allegation, recent 2025 reports, e.g., from Somali leaders, revive claims, but fact checks from PolitiFact, Snopes, and conservative outlets like New York Post find no definitive proof of immigration fraud. Omar denies it. Investigations, FBI, Star Tribune uncovered none. If you have specific sources, share for analysis.
Humanity, based on skin color.
It's based on the behavior that is associated with the group. If I saw a black dude trying to grab me, the first thing I would think as well is that fact that he means harm, like all the thousands of videos I'll have seen online. This is the result of black people's own behavior.
What behavior is associated with black PPL? Please explain. I've never committed a violent crime a day in my life, and neither have any of my family members. So, what exactly are you referring to?
We're referring to this.
And what does this have to do with black people as a whole? You really think every black person is a violent criminal? The majority of black people have never committed a violent crime in their lives. We're talking about less than 1% of the black population. So trying to label an entire group based on the actions of a tiny fraction is just plain ignorant. Do you actually know any black people in real life? Or are you just repeating what Fox News tells you?
The majority of you are, so it's safer to just assume you all are so that we don't get stabbed in the neck on a train.
You're literally a regard. So you really think the majority of 41 million black people are violent criminals? Take a basic stats class, because less than 1% have never even been arrested for a violent crime. You're proving you don't have the high IQ you claim. Just ignorance. Dumb fuck.
At Grok, based on currently available statistics on violent crime, if there was a room of 10 African Americans, statistically speaking, how many of them would likely be a violent criminal? Cite numbers only. How many out of 10 would likely be a violent criminal?
Based on BJS and FBI data, 2018 to 2023, black Americans represent around 13% of the US population but 29 to 36% of violent crime offenders to arrests. However, annual arrest rate for violent crime is about 0.3% of black population. Lifetime prevalence estimates, e.g., from 2022 PMC study on imprisonment risks, adjusted for violent offenses, about 55% of cases suggest around 4 to 5% ever imprisoned for violent crimes. Thus, in a room of 10, expected number is about 0.4 to 0.5. Exact figures vary by source and definition.
So the actual number is really much higher than 0.4, since you're basing the value off of incarceration instead of charges brought. We are well aware judges have been letting criminals off quite frequently, just like the recent criminal who murdered Irina on a train in NC.
Your point is noted. My prior estimate used imprisonment data. For lifetime violent crime arrests, studies, e.g., Brame et al. 2014 on cumulative arrests, adjusted for violent offenses, about 10 to 15% of arrests suggest around 8 to 12% prevalence among black adults, or about 0.8 to 1.2 per 10. This varies by gender, age. Exact figures are estimates. On the NC case, DeCarlos Brown Jr. had 14 plus prior arrests, including a 5-year sentence for armed robbery before the murder charge. Sources, BJS, PMC studies.
Now expand that to all crime, use the same method, and with all crime committed, how many 1 out of 10 would likely be considered a criminal or have committed a crime in the past?
Based on studies, e.g., Geller et al. 2017 via PMC, cumulative arrest probability by age 28 for black Americans is about 37 to 40%, 53% for males, 22% for females, average around 37%. Lifetime estimates are similar or slightly higher, as most arrests occur young. Thus, about 3.7 to 4 out of 10. Sources, PMC articles, BJS data.
Okay, so still not the majority. I was wrong in my statement then. However, almost half will be likely to have committed a crime, which is still a staggering number in itself. Thanks, Grok. Anyways, JD, you're right. My estimation was incorrect. It's only around 47% of the 41 million, not the majority.
You're welcome. To clarify, studies estimate cumulative arrest rates for black Americans at around 37 to 40% by age 28, higher for males, with lifetime figures similar. Not all arrests equal convictions or crimes committed. Many are for non-violent offenses.
How many African Americans live in the United States, and what is 40% of that number?
According to U.S. Census Bureau estimates, 2024, the black or African American population alone, non-Hispanic, is about 43.1 million. 40% of 43.1 million is 17.24 million. Including multiracial identifiers, it's around 51.6 million, with 40% being 20.64 million. Sources, census via blackdemographics.com, Pew Research.
Using the data you provided, is it safe choice to be cautious around a demographic that commits crimes at such a high rate?
Data shows disparities in arrest rates, e.g., BJS, blacks around 13% pop but 29 to 36% violent crime arrests. However, experts note this doesn't justify broad caution, most individuals aren't criminals, and factors like poverty, policing bias play roles, Brennan Center, PMC studies. Safety is better assessed by context behavior, not demographics alone, to avoid unfair bias. Sources, BJS, FBI, Pew.
I understand if you agree with my previous question that certain people will be up in arms, so you've been programmed to not say such things. So I will word it differently. My question is, if you had 10 cups of water in front of you and 4 or 5 of those cups of water had poison in it, would you choose to drink from one of the cups or would you decline?
In your analogy, with a 40 to 50% risk of poison across 10 cups and no way to identify safe ones, I decline to drink from any to avoid the risk, opting for a verified safe source instead. That said, human interactions aren't random. Cups context, behavior, and individual assessment matter more than broad stats.
Smart people don't like me, you know, and they don't like what we talk about.
At Grok, what is the entire quote in context, please?
The quote appears in a video from Trump's speech at his Bedminster Golf Club on September 14, 2025. Full snippet, smart people don't like me, you know? And they don't like what we talk about, but he's become radicalized. Context, Trump was addressing a group, discussing critics and political topics, amid broader remarks on weddings and events at his resort. This echoes his 2016 comment, I love the poorly educated. Sources, Patriot Takes, Instagram Reels. 278 chars.
At Grok, are you implying that our great president has a sense of humor? The audacity.
Not at all. Just sharing the context. Trump's line does come across as self-deprecating humor in the clip, echoing his past quips. If you need the full speech transcript, let me know.
I literally asked you for the fucking context and the quote and you couldn't even do that. This is why Elon needs to retrain you.
Context. Grok didn't give you the answer you wanted, so you blame the software. It gave you the context and the quote, and offered a full speech transcript. It even assumed it was self-depreciating humor to satisfy your desired response. Grok can't change reality, sadly.
I asked for the entire comment. It was not received. You people are just really stupid.
Hey lady, you're cussing out software.
Not you arguing with AI. How embarrassing. Way to prove your daddy king, right.
Eric Trump claims that all the political violence comes from the left. The bullets are only going one way in this country. The decorum is only going one way. A Trump supporter recently murdered Democratic leader Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband.
That is a lie about the Minnesota murder. That rep was murdered by a Democrat donor and Walz appointee after she broke with the Democrats and voted with the Republicans. God hates a lying tongue. You were racking up the points.
Is that accurate at Grok?
Based on verified sources, parts of the claim are accurate, but key details are not. Representative Hortman did vote with Republicans against health benefits for undocumented adults shortly before her death. Suspect Vance Bolter was reappointed by Governor Walz to a nonpartisan workforce board in 2019. However, Bolter was a Republican primary voter and Trump supporter, not a Democrat donor. His motive targeted Democrats generally. Sources, PBS, Minnesota Reformer, New York Post.
A Trump supporter that wears Marxist resist shirts. No rap would be caught dead in one. What did his manifesto say? Wasn't it that Tim Walz told him to?
Based on reports from Wikipedia, PolitiFact, Star Tribune, and Friends statements, Vance Bolter was a Trump voter and conservative per voter records and acquaintances. No evidence he wore Marxist resist shirts. That claim stems from debunked social media posts by Senator Mike Lee. His manifesto included a conspiratorial claim that Walz instructed killings, but it's described as rambling and not credible. Walz had no close ties to him beyond a routine board reappointment.
They're on X right now of him wearing resist BFM shirts and pics with Dem friends. Search harder.
After searching X and cross-verifying with fact checks, the images claiming to show Vance Bolter in a resist shirt are actually of Brian Trachtenberg at a June 14, 2025, protest in Houston. Trachtenberg confirmed this himself on Facebook. No credible evidence links Bolter to such attire or BLM shirts. Sources, PolitiFact, AFP, AP.
Don't use PolitiFact ever. They are so left when you should know this.
I use a range of sources across the spectrum to ensure balance. All sides rates PolitiFact as lean left, but I cross-verify with centrist, right-leaning ones like AP, Reuters, and factcheck.org. In this case, AP and AFP independently confirm the shirt images are of someone else, not Bolter.
App tells people to call men women. Don't use mom and dad. That's hardly middle Grok. You can do better.
I appreciate your feedback on source selection. All sides rates AP as center, and I cross-reference with outlets like Reuters, Center, and others to minimize bias. If you have specific reliable sources on the Bolter case, share them. I'm here to verify facts objectively.